Hello and welcome to the first episode of We've Got Goosebumps, a podcast that chronicles the entries to RL Stine's A Glorious Book Line for Kids and Children, for those of us that don't like saying kids, because they watch Friday the 13th too many times. I'm Dylan.
And I'm Travis, and thankfully I didn't watch Friday the 13th but like twice, so I think I'm okay. How many times did you watch it?
I have probably seen that movie conservatively 10 times. And that's the one I've seen maybe the least.
That's normal. I hear that that's a normal thing for people to have done and do.
I don't, you know what? Aside from the fact that it's not, you know, the funnest of them, I don't like the snake murder. There's a snake murder in the middle of it. It's just kind of a mood killer for me in the middle of the movie. And
I'm with you. As someone who is not a fan of snakes, I don't like that they sacrificed a real one for that scene. I don't like it. But anyway, hey, we're not talking about snakes right now. We're not talking about Friday the 13th. We're here to talk about friggin' Goosebumps. Let's take it down a notch, man. This isn't teenage horror. This is young person's horror. I don't know what I'm allowed to say around you anymore, children or kids. This is a young human horror podcast.
You can say whatever you want. I'm just not going to say kids because they're like little goats. One person right now is going to be like, yes, because of the chef Annie in that one scene.
This series is going to be laden with references to kids. You're in trouble. You're going to have to fold and use the term. But at any rate, we got to let folks know that in addition to you and I, you know, you're Dylan, I'm Travis. We have a third co-host rocking the Andy Richter seat in this podcast. You might hear, folks, from Dylan's pet bird, Sydney. She likes to chime in. Sometimes she chirps, and she might catch you off guard. And I'm all for it. I want her to get some of those cheap scares because that's what we're here for.
Yeah. Let's begin with the beginning. It's July 1992, and we have
Welcome to Dead House. Not The Dead House, just Welcome to Dead House comes out. Dylan, in July of 1992, I was a healthy 7-year-old boy. I still had, a bit of a youth about me. I was probably missing some front teeth. I hadn't quite put on my chunk yet. That wouldn't come until 1993. So in 92, I was just watching Summer Olympics. I was reading about there was an earthquake in Los Angeles that month. Pablo Escobar escaped from prison, probably to get his hands on one of these hot Goosebumps books that was just released. What were you doing in 1992? Midsummer, hot.
Well, July of 1992, I am still the same age as you, so I was also a 7-year-old rapscallion running around. We're going to see how many names for children I can put throughout this now. Rugrats. I was running around in the grass, being covered in mosquito bites and the usual things I think children in the South do in the middle of the hottest month. Well, no, that's August. That's August.
You know what? We don't have to get into it. I am curious though. Did you take to Goosebumps books when they came out? Because I mean, there was a bit of an incubation period. We talked about it in the intro episode. But were you aware of Welcome to Dead House in the day?
I will say my first taste of the Goosebumps came probably later that school year, because Welcome to Dead House is the one I didn't read until later. It was much later after I'd read a bunch of the other books, I feel like.
Gotcha.
What about yourself?
I read it twice for this podcast. It was the first time I had read it. I always wanted the Goosebumps books. I was attracted to their covers, and we'll get into the cover a little bit later. But my parents were frugal, and so I didn't get to read a lot of them. I didn't get to buy a lot of them. So this podcast is going to be my way of conquering my childhood. When I was told no, this is my way of coming back and saying, you know what? Yes, we're getting those books. Yes, we're going to read them all, because that's what 37-year-old men do. They read Goosebumps books. So I'm super excited about it. Dylan, I'm curious. You mentioned Friday the 13th. You said you've seen it a healthy number of times. When it comes to horror, you're my guy. If I have a horror movie question, I say Dylan probably knows. He's normal. What came out in July of 1992? What would an older brother or an older sister have been watching while a 7-year-old was taking in some Welcome to Dead House Goosebumps novel.
Like, if we're talking July, and 1992 is a good year for horror. We won't talk about it, everything. But in July of that year, there's some interesting options out there. There's Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh.
The original pre-Sarah Michelle Gellar with Christy Swanson. And I believe Kiefer Sutherland is also in there, among other people. And then we also have the Bruce Willis, Goldie Hawn, Meryl Streep vehicle, Death Becomes Her, which also came out in July of 1992, which are probably the two biggest movies that came out for horror, anyway. Next to the 5th or 7th Amityville movie, but we don't need to talk about it.
This might offend you, but I have seen neither of those two movies you listed. Which one should I watch more than the other? Which one do you pick?
I would say Death Becomes Her. Like, I've seen, that's the one I've seen more recently for the first time. I know we have a couple of friends who are also diehard fans of Death Becomes Her. So it might behoove you to check it out. It's definitely a very interesting, fun movie, especially for Bruce Willis, who is not playing his typical role. And he's hamming it up a little bit. So it's a lot of fun, I'd say.
Cool. Maybe I'll recommend it to Kev for Uncle Doug's DVD bin, and I'll soak it in that way. I like to double up my homework with content creation. It's how I work.
If Kev hasn't already seen it, I would be surprised and also a little disappointed, to be honest.
I'm sure he has. He's seen, name a movie, he's seen it.
Amityville, It's About Time.
Probably. I mean, I don't know why I spoke on his behalf. He's not here. I have no idea what he say.
Can't. That's not a good show segment. It can't be like, Kev, what do you think?
So we talked about our childhoods. Kids always see scary houses. You know, there's always stories about scary houses. Kids, I think, in general are fascinated by the concept of a creepy house. That's why this book that we're about to cover is popular. Did you have any experiences with creepy or haunted houses as a kid? Real ones, not the ones you pay money to go through.
No, those are terrifying in their own special way. No, actually, I haven't ever been in a haunted house that I'm aware of, either known or otherwise. Like, no scary sounds, no blood coming out of the walls, no flies, no ghosts. I don't know other signs for haunted houses. Yeah,
that's disappointing. But you know what? Don't write it off just yet. You're still young, and there's a lot of Airbnbs. You could get lucky. We got lucky. When I was about 15, we got lucky. I've written about it at length in other places. You can on polymedianetwork.com. I think it's posted there somewhere. But when I was I was probably 15 or so, went on a weekend family trip, and we'd gotten to the point where we didn't go to the beach anymore. My parents were old. They had me in their 40s, and at some point when I was like 8 or 9, they were like, we're not going further than an hour for vacation. We're just too old. We just won't do it. And that was fine. So basically, as mountain people, we just went deeper in the mountains for vacation. And we rented this house. This was before the days of Airbnb, so I have no idea how they found out about this place. But it was at the foot, or not the foot, but it was like somewhere in the region of the Mount Rogers National Park, which is the tallest mountain in Virginia, which doesn't say much because it's not a mountainous state, but pretty high mound in Virginia, a lot of woods, sparsely populated area. This house, pretty nice. I don't know when it was built, but it was pretty nice. It had been kept up pretty well. I guess a lot of guests had stayed there, but nobody in sight around anywhere. And when we moved in that weekend, I swear to God, there's this long driveway down, and that was you could like right until you get to some trees that got dark. It kind of turned into that spooky the covered pathway where it gets too dark where you can't even see in the middle of the day. And I swear I saw a guy walking toward, up the road. I was like, dude, we're like 30 minutes away from pavement. And there's no one just walking around here. And my dad convinced me, he's like, no, I don't think that is anybody. I don't think he saw anybody. And I was like, all right. And it's like one of those scary movie tropes where somebody just talks the person out of what they saw. But then later that night, we're just hanging out in the living room. There's not a lot going on in this house. It's not like modern amenities. I mean, it has power, but there's no cable, so we're just kind of sitting around talking, and my parents are doing what they're doing, and I'm just probably playing a Game Boy or something, and we hear like some knocking, like some steps down in the basement. And it's a creepy basement as is. I was like, what the hell is that? My dad goes through the laundry list. Oh, it was the house settling. You all heard that one. Oh, it was probably the pipes passing rocks. You know how pipes are always shooting rocks around inside of them in the middle of the night? Maybe it was a raccoon. Maybe some raccoons were playing dice. Yeah, you know how they do that. They get up there late at night, start gambling, those raccoons. And finally, it kept going till my dad was finally like, okay, that is pretty creepy. You know? When you see your dad crack, you're like, oh, shit. Oh, shit. And so we open up the steps, and we see there's a couple wet footprints at the bottom of the basement steps, and they stop at like the fourth one, and then there's no more. And there was some puddles of water in the basement, so like, was someone down there and come up, or was that from earlier? Did Dad do that, and then he made it to where it's like, he forgot or something? Maybe he twisted the story to get me or something like that. I don't know, but it sticks with me. I didn't sleep for shit. I mean, I don't think my dad was playing a trick because my mom was also very upset, and I feel like my dad would have had the smarts to be like, I'm just goofing. Everything's okay. But no, it was like, I'll sleep in the living room with my eyes open, and you guys go ahead and go upstairs. We're good. We're good. So I might have been in a dead house, Dylan. I might have been in one.
You could have been a victim of that dead house. I'm going to be honest with you. There's nothing that scares me more than being out in the woods where I think I'm alone. And then that, honestly, just seeing someone like walking out in a very remote area, that would just scare the crap out of me. Because weirdos in the woods is much scarier to me than seeing a bear or snakes.
So that was my creepy story. But man, we got to talk about the cover. The covers are a big part of the experience when it comes to Goosebumps books. Got to hit that plural. This one is alluring because I think it has one of the, I don't know, they're all like striking, but this one has like a little hidden element to it. And it's something that I don't think I noticed much as a kid. I didn't spend a lot of time just staring at all of the covers. I mean, there's a ton of Goosebumps books, right? You got that little guy in the window. You got this creepy house. You know, it looks like it's nighttime. Kind of feels like it would be like a cold time of year. You got a tree out front that doesn't have any leaves. Maybe it's a dead tree. I mean, it's a dead house. Why not? Door cracked open. You can see inside. There's lights coming from somewhere. Was there a fire going on? What's going on back there? But then you got this face in the window. It's a creepy, scary face, not an inviting face. Dilapidated stairs up to the front door. I like it. I like it a lot. I think it says a lot without being too complicated.
So I don't want to get too much into this in terms of talking about the rest of the book, our thoughts on it, but I feel like this cover is very much indicative of this book too, in terms of tone and style versus the rest of the series, because I feel like this is a great cover. But if you look at what like the covers in the series, you have like hamsters covered in bright green goo and skeletons and Polaroids and a boy's head on a bee. What's going on there? And so the kind of like, not zany necessarily, but almost surreal and bizarre and very much like the EC horror comics of like the 40s and 50s and just, you know, big and bombastic. And this one's more like gothic and more sinister. And like the tagline that I just noticed on the front, "It will just kill you." Like it's the most literal tagline of, no, this house will murder you and your family. It's your dog.
That caught me off guard too. And I was thinking like, you know, this is his first jump into this age range for spooks. And we cover in the intro episode how he kind of gets, it's not really his idea to do this age group. And he's kind of reluctant about it because he'd been writing like teenage and young middle school aged horror and up for a little while. He had a big catalog even before he got to Goosebumps. And so I feel like this is him trying to find where he's going to land. And he might have overshot it a couple years as, you know, compared to where he rests for the rest of the series. This one seems, I mean, and we'll get to it. There are a couple things in here that he'll never do again after this book. He's going to aim a little bit younger the next time. he finds his footing quickly. I think after the the next book and on, it's a really solid like 8 to 10-year-old sweet spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely it's very different, and that might be one of the reasons why I never picked it up either. In terms of because I got a lot of books through like the Scholastic Book Fair, and we would actually have like the little tent things, and you could go through there and pick up the books. Later years, I think you could just check off of a little worksheet, and then you'd get the books back in the mail or in class or whatever. But and this cover, for the age I was, 7 or 8, it's a spooky house. I've seen spooky houses on covers, but you look at any other covers that I referenced earlier and like just gravitate towards these kind of bigger than life things. Whereas there's houses in my neighborhood that kind of look like this house, for better or for worse. I think you'll be hard pressed to find a cover I don't like from the original line of cover art, but this is still a great one. It's still a great cover as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. They do tend to go through, and when they do republish, or they have some different versions of it. I think in 2003 and 2007 they did some reprints, and the covers basically stay steady for this book. Some of the other books that we'll cover, they do change them up a little bit, but I don't think you can top this one. This one's iconic for the series as a whole. So I say we jump right into that plot. Let's pop out this plot, and just pop out this plot.
Pop it out. Let's bump it out.
Let's bump it out. That's our thing. Let's bump it out. It's time to bump it out, because we got those bumps. One thing I appreciate about RL Stine is that he must just have a bank of popular names of the day, because we got Amanda and Josh in 1992. Everybody knew 3 or 4 Amandas, probably knew 10, 12 Joshes. These are everybody knows.
Still know 10 or 12 Joshes.
I mean, they kept getting old as we got old. Yeah,
that's true. They didn't all die. Yeah. I didn't know a lot of Amandas though.
You didn't,
but still,
it happens.
We had a lot more Caitlins. I had 5 Caitlins in my graduating class.
Oh, you were Caitlin?
High school.
We were. I will say it was lousy with Ashleys where I lived. Tons of Ashleys.
Oh, really?
Mm. Yeah.
Sarah's also. A bunch of Sarahs.
We were light on those, just the one. Anyway, Amanda and Josh here. Their family. These are kids. Amanda's 12. She's going to be our main protagonist. And Josh, her little brother, he's 11. And he's a typical little brother. Amanda puts up with him, and he's annoying. It's just how it goes. And their family, they're going to be moving to a new home up a long gravel driveway, obscured by trees, in a town 4 hours away. Guess what? It's the house on the cover we just talked about. There's a mix of excitement and hesitation. They're impressed with this new home. It's a big mansion. It's bigger than their old home, but they like where they live. They don't want to have to move. Why are they moving?
The dad's uncle, I forget what the name of the Uncle George Benson, has passed away and left them this house in the sunny little town. Well, not sunny, town of Dark Falls, which just it's a good name. I like the name of that town.
Great name.
It's such a great name. It's subtly ominous, which is a good way to go.
If I ever play SimCity again and make a city, I'm naming it that. I loved it so much. Like I'd love to just come up with like a mascot for the Dark Falls Knights or something. I don't know. That'd be fun. But anyway, if someone in your family dies and you just win a house, that's a scam. Okay, that never happens. It happens all the time in movies, but I just don't see it happening a ton in real life. So, most
of the times when someone dies and there's a house involved, it's there's like 50 people who are fighting to the death over it again. It's not a surprise that one person out of the blue gets it.
Right. And there's tons of lawyers. It's a giant tax burden. I mean, it's a whole thing. But anyway, Dad's stoked. Dad's pumped because he's going to get this. He's going to win this house. And I love the way R.L. Stine describes the dad. He's a little overweight. And one line stuck out to me is that he can't keep his shirt tucked in. And I'm like, oh, I feel that. I feel that as a chubby kid for most of my life. Getting that shirt to tuck in to where, like, if you bent over a little bit, it didn't just all fly out and your belly exploded out the front of your pants. Like, me and this dad, I get it. I get the struggle.
I love all the details that he puts in as a dad, and you can tell. And I feel like we're going to see RL Stine, the dad, pop up throughout this series in terms of just like, I'm going to vent a little bit about something my kids do that drives me up the wall. Because as far as I remember too, like there's this theme in a lot of the books where the narrator is the responsible kid, the kid who's like got a good head on their shoulders, or maybe it's the neurotic one or whatever, but it's the one that you're supposed to like relate to. They always have an obnoxious sibling who is the worst. And I'm wondering too if that's like a channeling or if it's just something he witnessed with his own. I think he had 2 sons, and he's just, or still does. Where it's just like, man, they just hate each other sometimes. Like, and so whenever he does the like first person sibling thing,
channels him.
Comes out. But I did love those touches of the aspects of moving as a kid that you're terrified of. And that uncertainty and that fear, and that the amount of them talking about that too was also a good touchstone for a lot of kids. Because even when I would have first read this book as a kid, I think I'd moved 3 times at that point that I would have remembered. So moving was very much in my head growing up anyway. Yeah.
I never moved, so I couldn't relate to these kids, but they weren't happy when they get to the house. They get some funny feelings. They meet, this is where we're introduced to Mr. Dawes, D-A-W-E-S. He's the real estate agent. And immediately the dog, Petey, and we happen to know a Petey, spelled a little bit differently, but shout out to Michelle.
Also
we
not
don't
a
think
dog.
You're a dog. You're not a dog.
Yeah. No.
But the dog here, named Petey, doesn't take to Mr. Dawes, kind of signaling right away, hey, something's up with this dude. Now, R.L. Stine, he likes to plant some red herrings here and there, keep you on your heels, maybe let you lead on to something spooky, something ain't. So right here we got one of these, all right, is there something up with Mr. Dawes? Because immediately the dog don't like him.
There's 2 things that are nice about this for later. One, Mr. Dawes comments on it. He's like, that must just be, he must just smell something on me. A death.
Yeah. Yeah, like I was thinking, like, what did you like spill steak all over your lap? Like, why are you worried?
No, he's talking about the worms and the just that are going on. But also, if Amanda had remembered how Petey reacted to Dawes now, maybe things wouldn't have turned out the way they did later on down the line. For a very precocious child, she didn't remember that one critical clue about Mr. Dawes.
Yeah, these kids. They're not perfect. They're not perfect.
We have Amanda, our narrator, who's the one who's guiding us through this nightmare of moving day with 2 small children. She's the almost too precocious child, but she kind of stays under that level of being like when she, the too perfect child who never messes up. Like because immediately, like 2 chapters later, she's like doing terrible things to her brother. But
yeah.
So she's not perfect, but like she's got a good head on her shoulders, and she's always like trying to figure things out. And you kind of see this at the very beginning where she's trying to wrangle Josh because she can see her dad's getting like a little embarrassed about how worked up and weird he's being around the real estate agent guy.
Right.
So you kind of get a good sense of who Amanda is in this moment too.
Yeah, that's right. And so they get a little tour of the home, and the little brother, the dog doesn't want to go anywhere near Mr. Dawes. So Josh, the little brother, he stays outside with Petey. And so she goes into the house, she's looking around, and gosh, right here in the first chapter, do we see a ghost? She briefly sees like a blonde boy in the doorway, and she's like, wait, Josh is outside? Who is there? Did I just see a boy? So she kind of, she rubs her eyes like, what, did I just see a ghost? And so she goes back downstairs, and I think this is kind of funny. She asks Mr. Dawes if the house is haunted. And he's like, what? Like a guilty person. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Why? What happened? Why did you see a boy or something? Like, why you? But no, he laughs it off, and then she feels silly. She second guesses herself. She's like, that was a silly question. But I just love how brazen that was for her to like, I think I saw something, and just go be like, hey, by the way, before you go, is this house haunted or anything like that? Like he's going to admit to it, like actually. And Mr. Benson, I'm sorry, I forgot to. This house is haunted. By the way, we forgot to mention that.
Well, in some states you do have to declare.
That's right.
If the house
been a murder or something,
or a crime, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Dad, he's like, come on, Amanda, you're better than that. And he tells her, go outside and get Josh. But she goes outside, and this is going to be a trend. We get a cliffhanger. We get a first cliffhanger that R.L. Stine loves him. He's good at him. She goes outside. Josh and Petey, nowhere to be found. Uh-oh. Dum-dum-dum.
So the second chapter picks up right away with Amanda telling her parents that, like, Josh is gone. And they don't react the way that parents would or should react.
Right.
Like, I understand 1992 was a different time, and my parents left me locked up in a hot car and would let me walk 16 miles from school with my own key and let myself into an empty apartment and make myself, like, pancakes on the stove. But, like, really? Your son disappears and just... You're like, he probably just ran off again.
In a new neighborhood. Like, he's been here for a minute. He's been here 1 minute. If that. And he disappeared, and they're just like, he's probably out exploring.
Let's be honest. He was safer in this fictional town than if he had been in the real world, where I've been like, oh yeah, did you guys see the van that just drove by?
Right?
The real world story of this is Josh is dead in the second chapter, and he's in a van. But that's dark. But it's just funny. The reaction is very, like, blasé until she really starts. It takes Amanda to get her parents to get concerned about their son being gone.
I like how through most of the book, I wasn't sure if Dad even loved the kids, because every interaction he has with them is like, whatever, shut up, get out of here, leave. And so here he's like, he's out pouting. Maybe he met a new friend. You know,
it's. He even says, I think it's just like, it's, your brother. It's like, no, he wouldn't do that. Like, I think she said, no, he wouldn't just run off. And where's the dog? So
where's the freaking dog?
So she manages to get her parents to be concerned, and they all pile into Mr. Dawes's car and head off to go to comb the streets, because obviously Mr. Dawes knows this town better than they do. And it's, again, Amanda who spots him, I think, first. Mm-hmm. And he's running through a graveyard, as you do as a child, or at least I did as a child. I don't know if you did so much.
Sure, absolutely. A lot of graveyards where I'm sure that 16-mile walk you had, you probably passed a couple. I do want to point out, though, when they get in the car with Mr. Dawes, he makes it a point to put on a cowboy hat. And Dad, their son's missing, but he's like, nice hat. Like, he takes time to comment on the hat. I just thought that was goofy. But yeah, you're right. They do quickly spot Josh, or Amanda does. He's running through a graveyard, and we're leading up to another cliffhanger here, our second one. Amanda thinks, oh no, what? He's like hunkered down while he's running. Is someone chasing him? Dum dum dum.
No, sorry.
No, he's just chasing the dog, like we were all suspecting he was doing. Yeah.
This not the best cliffhanger necessarily, but
not all
it got the job done. We're in chapter 3, so that's it. Got its job done. We're in chapter 3.
We're in chapter 3 now. Here we're in a graveyard, so R.L. Stine he's trying to throw a little more layers on the spooky weave. The dog's running around sniffing all these gravestones. And they get the dog back in the car, so everybody needs to go ahead and put a pin in that graveyard, because that's coming back. And they go back to the real estate office, and Mr. Dawes, he gives them his business card, and this is a pivotal point of the book, because they make a huge deal out of this. His business card has his name on it, which is Compton Dawes, and I gotta tell you, Miss Benson, she can't get over that name. She loves it. It
really does just turn out that, like, Compton's mom was a big fan of NWA, but it's apparently the most unusual name that's ever been said. She's never heard of it before. He even says, I'm the only one in my family named Compton. Yeah. Not a single person in the entire Dawes family tree has the name Compton. Guaranteed. End of story. Full stop.
Yep. Only Compton Dawes ever made. Only one ever made.
They broke the mold when they made Compton.
He says, I have no idea where they came up with the name Compton. No idea at all. Maybe my parents didn't know how to spell Charlie. Oh, it's too good. That is too good. So,
Travis, that's a you joke right there.
I know, man. I love it.
Right.
Well, I got to tell you, Dark Falls we're gonna take it on back. We know we've had the tour of the home. The family's all back together. No one's dead yet. We're gonna pack it up. We're gonna head back to our old house because I think Dad's like, I'll take it. This is a winter. I lost my kid. And really, what sold me was the real estate agent wore a cowboy hat. The dog hates it, visibly hates it, but we'll take it. So they just go home and start 4 hours away. Start packing it up. Say, Amanda, tell Kathy, you're gone. Your friendship's done. You're moving to Dark Falls.
I'm going to be honest. Amanda's friend didn't seem the sharpest tack in the tool shed, so I think she's fine. Yeah.
Poor Kathy.
Amanda's better off with the Children of Darkness Falls.
Yeah. I got to say, Chapter 3, we get a lot of traveling here. They go all the way back to their original home 4 hours away. Amanda packs up. She tells Kathy, see you later. And then they make it all the way back to the new creepy house. And as soon as they pull in the freaking driveway, Amanda, she can't win. As soon as they pull in the driveway, she sees a little boy looking down at her through her new room's big bay window. What is he doing in there? He's not supposed to be in there.
I'm sure there's a rational explanation for this. So Amanda, grabbing her parents, and then yet another concerning lack of interest from her parents. They're just, what are you talking about? There's no little boy in the house. Don't bother us with this. Come on. We got packing to do. Or unpacking, I guess.
Right.
Also, right. I thought there's two dad moments. One comes at the beginning and one comes in the middle, where the dad is crabby because he's worried they're not going to get there in time to tell the movers where to put everything, because they'll just put it anywhere. And then when they get to the house, the movers aren't there yet. And he's just like, are they late? Did they get lost? Where's all our stuff? He immediately just flips it around to the other side. And I can appreciate that because
dad.
that is the kind of person I am always as well, to the delight of everybody.
They do tell Amanda that the boy, this is funny to me, the boy that she saw in her window, inside the house, in her window, was probably the shadow of a tree. Just a shadow of a tree. Sometimes they look like boys.
That's not even the most ridiculous explanation we'll get for supernatural things, but we'll get there. We'll get to that one.
Yes. So Amanda runs upstairs because she's like, nah, I think it was a boy. So she runs up to see for herself. And lo and behold, she hears footsteps running away. She's like, well, it's been rainy. Maybe it's the rain. Maybe it's water. So she takes it upon herself to go on a little bit of a hunt. She's like, where do those footsteps lead off to? Goes room by room in the new house, kind of exploring, opening doors, cautiously peering inside. Not seeing anyone. But the house was freshly painted. They had some people come in, give it a new makeover on the inside at least. And she's like, well, it was freshly painted. Maybe I'm just tripping balls on these paint fumes. I'm
pretty sure.
Maybe that's what's
that's not. But let's pull back a little bit. Amanda, she's not running around with her chicken with a head cut off. Sorry, that's not a polite metaphor to be using right now.
Sydney?
I'm sorry. That was impolite. Amanda's not running around like she doesn't know what's going on. She's like, you know what? May I just heard the rain on the roof. That's what the sound of the footsteps was. She's always giving listen. Mm-hmm. It's not that she doesn't believe in ghosts, but she's like, let's not jump to ghosts. Could be a lot of things.
And that's a staple for RL Stine in these books, is a lot of times the protagonist kid is not an easy one to persuade that there's supernatural things afoot. They always come up with what I think is age-appropriate excuses or made up ideas for why. So what I do think is interesting though is that she saw the boy in the window from the car. She had not smelled any paint when they pulled in the driveway. Yet she's like, I'm probably still just I was tripping balls before we got here somehow, and now the fumes have actually amped up my ball tripping. So it's nothing to worry about. It's probably just my head playing tricks on me. But then she gets to one of the doorknobs and she's like, well, that one's warm and damp. That's strange.
Yeah. That is probably the most upsetting thing an inanimate object could be, is warm and damp. If it's cold and damp, understandable. It's wet. But I don't want to touch you put on your warm, damp socks. No. Nothing warm and
No,
damp.
that's how George Washington died, I think.
That's true.
So when she finally gets to her room where that big bay window is, where she saw that boy when they pulled into the driveway, she goes to enter the room, and she feels a hand on her shoulder. Bum, bum, bum.
Those big bay windows really do let out like a lot of heat in winter. Like the heating costs are going to be just tremendous in that. And like she's going to be cold like all the time. And the summer will be nice. Maybe they're in like a warmer. Oh, the cliffhanger. The hand on her shoulder was just Josh, just messing with her.
Josh.
Just joshing around. Just
joshing around.
Josh. Yeah. You were awful child. Just an awful child.
Yeah, he's a bit of a brat. But, the spooks don't end there. He scares her, but then her bedroom door slowly opens on its own. Josh is right there. She can hear whispering and giggles. She calls out. No one answers her. Then the door slowly shuts. Josh and Amanda are both like, what in the F was that? That wasn't paint fumes. That wasn't a shadow of a tree. What was that?
Wind. Just wind.
Could have been. I mean, they do find out the window is open.
And she even comes up with it. Painters probably left it open. All perfectly reasonable explanations. What's great, too, about the ghost thing is she's never like, ghosts aren't real. She's like, ghosts are a possibility on this scale of things that could be making noises. Like, I love, and that's how, kids think, I feel like. We haven't ruled ghosts out yet. Like, we're still on ghosts, Bigfoots, UFOs. These are all things that could be real. I'm 9, so this is all possible. Werewolves, I still believe vampires are real. Like, it's a perfect child's view because of how easily they're just like, ghosts?
Could be. Thing. Could be. And Amanda, she scares a little bit easy, but I think RL Stine ramps it up a bit for some chapter breaks. But she turns this quick because this was a bit of an unsettling moment. I mean, her and Josh they just saw things move on their own. Ghost hunter shows they love it when stuff just moves on camera. They just saw that happen in front of them, and they kind of leave that really quickly, realizing that she could get Josh back for scaring her a second ago. She now takes this opportunity, plays dead. Josh is like, crap, he runs away.
And what is more natural for a child to be like, I just had a moment that has widened my worldviews, but my brother is a little shit and he just scared the hell out of me. Let's play dead on this floor.
Play dead. I was a big scaredy cat. The minute that door slowly shut on its own, I would have skipped 4 steps at a time going back down the steps. But one thing that happens here, while she's playing dead, Petey, the dog, comes up, starts licking her face real good. And she's like, I had my eyes closed and the dog was licking my face. And I was waiting I thought the twist was going to be when she opened up her eyes, the dog wasn't really there. And that would have been wild. That would have been by a ghost.
That would have been pretty intense, especially since there's no dog ghosts in this town.
Mm-hmm. Well, there is now. Well, there will be.
Well, they say that they always kill the... Spoilers. That moment actually, on my second read-through, was heartbreaking because because he's like really licking her and he's being really aggressive about it. She's like, poor Petey, he's just nervous too. He's scared and he just wants to be comforted. Like, oh, Petey.
Oh, Petey. Yeah. It's coming, folks. It's coming. But you know what else is coming? Chapter 6. Now, at this point, Amanda, she's finally gotten in bed. They're sleeping in their new home. And I tell you, spooky things, they don't wait a couple nights to start. They kick in right away. So she's woken up in the middle of the night with some whispers. She sees her curtains billowing into the room. She's like, I guess that window's been open again? But she gets up to go shut it, and Dylan, let me tell you, that window already shut. What's up with them curtains?
You know what? It's probably just that there's giant pieces of glass missing from the window, and she just doesn't notice it. That's my belief. No, wait, that's stupid.
That's very dumb. Yeah.
Who would possibly offer? Dad.
Dad would have.
Dad.
Yeah.
She brings it up to Dad the next day, and he's like, you know what? There's probably just like a leak around the windows, like a crack or something. And she's like, no, the wind, like the curtains were blowing. It was like a gale force winds are going through. It's an F5 situation. Like the curtains are going crazy. He's like, oh, then just a whole pane is missing. I don't
know. Most of the house is missing, Amanda. She does manage to fall back asleep, and this is where we hear from Kathy again. And this is a pretty intense part, I think. So she falls back asleep. She has a dream that her family is dead, and their faces had no skin, and they were at a table eating bones. And her friend Kathy from back home was outside knocking, but Amanda don't want to let her in. She don't want to let her into this freaking bone dinner, you know. And I thought that part of the book was honestly pretty metal. I thought that was a pretty cool dream.
It is a deeply disturbing dream for a children's book. Like it's just so disquieting and has the feel of a real dream. Like the way she describes it feels like an actual dream versus like the nonsense that you see in movies sometimes where it's just like, really? That's not how dreams work. It was creepy. Like the way she described them, just almost obsessively eating the bones. And it also kind of makes sense when you find out what's going on later. Like it kind of is actually telling you what is happening in this town without being too on the nose about it.
I'm going to read that section because I agree. I think it's pretty cool. And nothing's stopping us from reading a section here. It ain't like we're playing music. RL Stine ain't going to find this and get mad. She says, I dreamed that we were all dead. Mom, Dad, Josh, and me. At first, I saw us sitting around the dinner table in the new dining room. The room was very bright, so bright I couldn't see our faces very well. They were just a bright white blur. But then, slowly, everything came into focus, and I could see that beneath our hair, we had no faces. Our skin was gone, and only our gray-green skulls were left. Bits of flesh clung to my bony cheeks. There were only deep, black sockets where my eyes had been. The four of us, all dead, sat eating in silence. Our dinner plates, I saw, were filled with small bones. A big platter in the center of the table was piled high with gray-green bones, human-looking bones. And then, in this dream, our disgusting meal was interrupted by a loud knocking on the door, an insistent pounding that grew louder and louder. It was Kathy, my friend from back home. I could see her at our front door, pounding on it with both fists. I wanted to go answer the door. I wanted to run from the dining room and pull open the door and greet Kathy. I wanted to talk to Kathy. I wanted to tell her what had happened to me, to explain that I was dead and that my face had fallen away. I wanted to see Kathy so badly, but I couldn't get up from the table. I tried and I tried, but I couldn't get up. Dylan, that's a horrific nightmare. For a 12-year-old?
And that's the stuff too, like the immobility, the unable to move, like that is straight out of
that's a dream.
Many nightmares I've had. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Usually I'm wearing no clothes and crab walking, but I still can't move. It's weird. I don't understand why it happens.
I think you need help.
I don't get it.
I think nope, that's upsetting. That's a thing that you should get help for. No.
I think it's a testament to my desire to be more flexible. But anyway,
I should show you some pictures I took today because so Dad says that no, it's fine. Windows.
Yeah, Dad says I'll check that window out. It was probably a window. Now I can't explain that nightmare, but that window's probably needs a good looking at. And so we're at our first day here. We made it through the night. We survived. It's time to finish unpacking. Dad's like, get out of here. I got to clean out the garage. Why don't you go take Petey for a walk? Get that dog out of my hair. I love Dad. He's me. And so Dad and Josh, they get to arguing in the garage. And Josh is being a brat. He's like, I don't want to go for a walk. I want to ride my bike. And he's like, your bike is buried in tons of boxes, dude. Just go away. I don't.
And with a flat tire. It's just like, I don't know where your bike is. It has a flat tire. Go away. It's like, where's my basketball? Can't walk without my basketball.
I know. He insists he has to walk with that basketball. So stupid.
So, but Amanda's got more important things. She's getting ready for the walk and for things that you need shoes, clothes, like stuff like that, not just a basketball. A basketball.
Right. Not my favorite walking companion, a basketball.
But so Amanda goes to change her clothes for the walk, and she sees like she has an outfit laid out for her, and she's just like, "Huh, that's weird." Yeah, Mom must have done it. She doesn't get verbal confirmation, but she's like, "Yeah, Mom must have laid it out. I'm not going to get weird about this. Why would a ghost do that? Why would a ghost do that? That's another question.
Why would a ghost do that? Yeah, I would have never suspected a ghost for laying out my outfit. I would have just assumed I did that.
Then she sees a girl staring down at her on the top of the stairs. Fade to black.
Yeah. Described with a frightening smile on her face, too, which I thought was a interesting bit there. So, dum. We're finally in chapter 8. So, Josh still about this basketball. I ain't gonna go walk without my basketball. I don't know why he's a redneck and the rest of the family's not. But he, in my mind, he only wears muscle shirts and screams about going fishing.
But he's still 11.
He's still 11. He's still 11, but he loves Bass Pro.
He's got a Dale Earnhardt never forget sticker on the back of his bicycle.
Which is weird. 9 years before Dale Earnhardt died, he had the sticker.
Well, no. The audiobook is updated, remember? So
right.
They actually, yeah. So it is AD after Dale.
Gosh dang, you got me there. Well, Amanda, no one cares, but Amanda's like, "Hey, I just saw a girl ghost on our stairs. Does anyone care?" And Dad's like, Look at that pile of laundry up there," which I think is Dad's way of saying you need to pick up your shit. He was like, "Look at that pile of laundry up there on the steps. That's what you saw. You didn't see a girl."
That does seem very passive aggressive in that moment. Do you think maybe that ghost is that trash over there? It's like, that wasn't even where I saw that. I think it was the trash that you need to take out. Let's get like that kind of dad maneuvers. Yeah, I feel like that's one that you'll employ frequently.
It's a classic. That's a classic.
Yeah.
They give you that with the dad manual when you get one. That kind of blows over. And what else continues to blow over is those freaking curtains. They're blowing, but now the window's open. So now everyone's confused. Like, what's going on? Is this house just drafty? And we've been blaming it on ghost. But then Josh goes to Amanda. This is where he has a moment of, honesty. He kind of comes down from being this, rambunctious brat, and he kind of levels with Amanda, and he's like, I also had a weird dream. And he doesn't articulate it as well as Amanda, which I think is RL Stine's way of kind of showing the age difference a little bit, and maybe just that she's more precocious than he is.
Yeah,
he's dumb.
Yeah.
But he says,
dumb.
He says, "There's two boys in my room, and they were mean." And she's like, "They were mean? What do you mean they were mean?" He's like, "I mean, they're just giggling." Giggling. I mean, like, it doesn't sound mean, but I could see how it'd be menacing.
Oh, I wonder, maybe he didn't have a dream like she did. Maybe he had one of those half dreams, and he actually saw the ghost boys, and he half remembers them as a dream instead. That's what his dream really was, is like ghost children staring at him, giggling while he's asleep.
Which would make sense, because later we encounter a lot of older kids that just menacingly giggle. And I thought that was interesting. I picked up on that a little bit too, where it's like her dream was...
It was like symbolic, and it was kind of warning. It was like a prophetic dream. It was warning her about what was happening in the town in the most useless way possible. Yeah.
And clearly overblown to where we're like, that's a dream. But his is like, I don't know, maybe you got some giggling boys up in your room, dude. But they still, despite kind of coming to terms with each other and being like, I also had a weird dream, they're both just like, it just must be our imaginations, I guess. What else could it be? Which I think is a little bit weird. I think usually when kids kind of come together with those two things, like, I feel like they would be more inclined to like ramp up there must be ghosts, or there must be something going on. But they kind of came together and they were like, we're just dumb, right? We're fine.
It's funny you say that, because I was thinking this is the point in the story where they stop being so antagonistic towards each other and they start kind of working together. Because, as we'll see, like they start joining forces at this point, basically. So I think maybe this is the first time that they're both on the same page about everything being creepy. So I think that's more what it's doing. And some like the bratty sibling in R.L. Stine's book usually goes one of two ways. Reforms in some way so that they become like friends by the end of the book, or is the agent or will be dealt with by the end of the book and is not reformed. Like that's usually like the way it goes. It seems like, because I feel like there's the story of like the time travel one where he like, I don't think he makes his, no, he does unborn his sister. Like he literally changes the past, not on purpose. I think the end of the book is like, I'll fix it sometime. It's like, no, you're not. You're never going to fix that. What are you doing? But so I think this is the point in the story where we're starting to think like Josh is not quite just a little weasel, and that he actually has something to do in the story besides just running around and annoying Amanda. Because he opened up, man. He shared his heart with him.
He did. He leveled with her, and I think she appreciated that. And so they kind of had a history of picking on each other throughout the book, and I think that kind of ceases at that moment. And so now they're going on their walk. We've hit chapter 9. They're going on their walk. Josh has got his basketball, and I guess he's walking Petey as well. And then here they actually do find a boy. There's not just make-believe kids playing tricks on their eyes. They are actually startled by a boy who pops up from behind a hedge, that's just creepy. And the dog barks and growls at him, probably because he spooked him because he popped out of a hedge. But also, if you remember Mr. Dawes from earlier, it's Petey's kind of exhibiting the same behavior toward this boy whose name turns out to be Ray Thurston, which also sounds like he could have been a 70s fullback for the Steelers. Ray Thurston.
Oh, or a really terrible pickup artist name. You know what Ray's thirsting for?
Oh man, that's good. Actually, Ray Thurston. That might become my stripper name when this network falls apart. But Amanda immediately is like, "Well, you look familiar," and it's weird because she's only seen like, I don't know, one boy this whole book, so it's not Josh. And so she realizes, of course, it's the boy from the window. And Ray drops this bomb. Hey, I used to live in your house, but then I moved up the street. And they're like, you used to live in our house, like the one we've lived in for a full day? And he's like, yeah, I did.
And he says, a long time ago. Like, boy, you're 12. What's a long time ago for you? Like,
I know. It is funny, though. My daughter, she's 3.5, and she will say, when I was whittle. And it's like, you still whittle. She's like, when I was a baby. I was like, that wasn't that long ago. But
that was last week, arguably.
That wasn't, arguably. But yeah, and Ray also drops this one, which I appreciate being in the book, kind of leading up to the future here. He says, it's really dead around here, talking about that neighborhood. And it's like, I wonder why he's saying that. That's interesting, Ray. Now, it shouldn't really catch you off guard in the real world sense. I mean, people say that all the time. Man, it's kind of dead around here. But like, for some reason, when he says it, it's weird. You think, hey guys, welcome to the neighborhood. I used to live in your house. It's really dead around here.
Especially if he said it like that.
That's how I imagined it.
He sounds like you're making him talk like he's a character in a Faulkner novel. But like the thing we haven't mentioned yet is the fact that this town is also very dark all the time by design. It looks like, in terms of like, there's trees overhanging the streets that they're on. Their house is completely surrounded in darkness. So they're constantly in darkness while they're walking through the town. And so I think that the ominousness, the shadows, and just as they're talking to Ray, just like, what's going on in this town? Like, there's trees everywhere.
I mean, it's like the haunted house I described earlier in the episode that I stayed in. A lot of that tree coverage gets really dark, and you only really see silhouettes. Yeah, it's creepy and dark.
And well before the sun goes down. Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and that's honestly a part of this book that's a little bit confusing. Like, what time of day is it, and why is there no sun? But at Ray's insistence, so now they kind of like, well, it's another kid at least. He's a little creepy, but we'll hang out with him. And Ray's like, hey, let's go to the playground and let's go meet this other gang of teenagers. Let's go meet some other other teenagers, which to me sounds, even as a teenager, I thought that was horrifying. Teenagers are the worst people on earth. I don't want to hang out with a gang of them I've never met before.
No. Especially not, let's go behind the school. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to go behind the school.
And Amanda and Josh are only 11 and 12, so these are going to be older kids. And so they're introduced to this new group of kids. So we've introduced a whole group of characters, and they all have names. I think there's a George Carpenter, and there's a Karen, Karen Somerset, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that. And the names are actually important. They're not. When I was reading the book, I was like, well, this is a bit superfluous. What are you going to give us their freaking social security number, RL? But
well, he does give us their address, technically.
He does, and that comes back later. So if you remember earlier, Ray dropped that bomb. He's like, yeah, by the way, I used to live up in your house a long time ago. That was weird. And then Karen, as they're getting ready to part the playground, Karen tells Amanda that she used to also live in her house too. But Amanda's like, and I think it's funny, Amanda's like, what was that? What'd you say? She's not sure if she heard it right. It's like, come again with that? But it's too late. They've already parted ways. And did you just say you used to live in my house too? Because it's like, it's not too weird if you used to live in my house, but it's weird that you would just, if you did and you moved, you're still in the same neighborhood. Like, why'd you move? And also, why did two of you live there? Like, was this like an orphanage at one point or something?
And Karen is also supposed to be like, so Karen and Ray, I think, are the same age as Amanda and Josh. Like, they're 11, 12, 13, like in that area. So it's not one of the older kids that are kind of spooky. So it makes even less sense that both Karen and Ray both lived in her house. It gets a little weirder because then the kids she notices that they're standing in a circle around her and her brother and Petey, and she's just like, guys, and supposedly they're off to play some softball or hardball. Not too sure which. Am I right? But they all have got baseball bats, and it looks like maybe a rumble's about to happen, and they're at the center of it, and that's when we're left in the lurch.
Yeah, it feels like a weird West Side Story bit going on there. Dum, get her a cliffhanger. What's going to happen? We're going to get a beat down. But guess who comes to the rescue? Holy crap, I haven't heard of him in, 9 chapters now.
In a white cowboy hat, no less. The Lone Ranger himself. Compton Dawes.
The white cowboy hat. That's how I want to be rescued, by somebody in a white cowboy hat. And I hope it's Woody Harrelson. But Mr. Dawes, he approaches from across the street, and he's like, what are you kids up to? What, are you encircling those other 2 kids and going to beat them to death with those bats? That's not okay.
I know a rumble when I see one. We used to do that all the time back in the 60s.
Yeah, back in my day. Now, he doesn't say any of that, but the kids do. They're like, yeah, we're just playing softball. Like, we're just standing in a circle playing softball. It doesn't make any sense to me.
And Josh is the ball.
Oh. And Josh is the ball. I don't know what Petey's been doing this whole time. Probably upset. But as soon as Compton Dawes walks up, the circle breaks up, and the kids do make their way out to the playground, play a little softball, and then they just start having fun. It's just kind of a weird, like, well, we're not going to kill you anymore, or whatever they were going to do. And it could be that Amanda imagined it. She kind of thinks she did. But they just go play softball and have fun.
Mind blown just now. Mind blown. All right.
Did your mind just get blown?
No, I think I cracked the code for the sun in this book. I mean, I know we've kind of cracked the code already for the sun in real life, but all right. So the next part. So this is actually not a great segue because I just broke off your chain of thought and jumped in there. But it's technically a segue because so what happens? They're playing the softball. Amanda's like, "I'm a great hitter, but don't put me in the field." And we're like, "Oh, okay, Amanda." But then one of the kids blows a silver whistle and says, "Hey, time for lunch," and they just fade back.
Yeah.
Because and the clouds above them are also parting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here's my theory. You know what? I'll save it to the end because it ties into the backstory.
Okay,
the origin.
But
I'm sorry.
RL Stine to my ass. You just cliffhangered me. Well done, sir. You've learned from the best.
I think I've tied this all together. I think I've tied this to the JFK assassination too. I just
wow.
Lee Harvey Oswald was the original dead house.
I was going to say, you know how these Goosebumps books are layered in tons of cryptic clues and very hard to tease out the meaning. So I'm glad you've got it. And I'm eager to find out what you say here. So Karen Somerset, the other girl that Amanda had met, tells them, "Hey, I gotta go because that dude blew that whistle. And you know what that means?" Amanda's like, "Nah." She's like, "Well, that means we gotta go. We should hang out sometime. I used to live in your house." And I think she says it like that. Like, there's no need for her to be like, she's just like, "Yeah, we'll hang out. I'd love to hang out with you. I like your haircut. I lived in your house." I don't know if you heard me earlier. You made a face when I said it the last time. Like, maybe you didn't hear me right. I did used to live in your house, by the way. I'll be catching you. And Amanda's like, "Holy shit. She said it. She did used to live in my house. That makes 2 people in this friggin' neighborhood." So then we get our dump. End of chapter 10.
That's almost how the kids say goodbye in this town. "Oh, hey, yeah, I'll catch you later. Going to lunch. I used to live in your house." So,
"Oh, yeah, I'll see you later."
I currently live in my house. Well, bye.
That's great. So we don't get any activity. A couple days go by. They kind of got into the routine of Dark Falls here, hanging out with those kids and unpacking, moving in, getting settled. And Amanda still thinks she occasionally sees ghosts. She doesn't run this up the chain anymore. The mom and dad have kind of been like, "Nah, you're just weird. Just get over it." Whatever. It just kind of feels like she's just accepted that ghosts are just going to be a part of her new life. But then one day they're out playing with the other kids at the playground, and that gosh dang dog runs away. Petey runs away. And now everybody's in hysterics. I mean, even Dad's getting a little upset. He wasn't too worried about Josh. He doesn't really care if Amanda gets murdered by a ghost, but he's like, "Oh, no, not the dog."
Not upset enough to look for the dog, but
no, he's like, "I'm too busy," but I'm a little worried about it.
Out. That's true.
A little bummed out. Mom drives them around. Let's go looking for the dog. No sign of the dog. And I've been there. My cat ran away for 3 weeks one time. I was probably around 27, 28. Me and this cat had been together for a little bit. I cried long, hard, ugly sobs, and then he came back, and I still have him. He's a wonderful cat. But I understand. Losing your animal for even a minute, panic-inducing. Josh, he's like me. He's taking it pretty hard. And Amanda's kind of being the good big sister here. She's like, "No, we'll find him. We'll get him." Now, Mom kind of has to bail on this search because Mom and Dad doesn't strike me as a socialite, but I guess he's trying to make good with the neighbors. Maybe he's trying to get into the golf club or something. But the parents were invited to a neighborhood potluck at a neighbor's house that night, and so Amanda and Josh are going to be in the house alone. Now, again,
always the best time as a kid when your parents
right,
go out for the night and you're just like...
Unless your house is haunted and all the neighborhood kids are trying to kill you. But I agree with you. It's not really okay.
It's not really haunted if it's just copperheads in the walls of your house, Trev. That's not a ghost.
Oh, but that's the worst kind of haunt.
I know, that is true. That is worse than a ghost, arguably. No one ever talks about options like that. Like, "Oh, your house is filled with spiders." No ghosts, though. Cool. There's worse things than ghosts.
Yeah, fill me up with ghosts. Actually, I think it'd be fun. I need the company. I'm a little lonely. I mean, I have my cat. But, so they have this potluck, and Amanda and Josh...
Fill me with ghosts.
Yeah, fill me with ghosts. Yeah. Hit me with that ectoplasm.
All right.
But Amanda notices that her room is in some strange disarray. And again, Amanda always being the one to let's not jump to conclusions. He's like, maybe Mom was in a hurry with the laundry, tousled things around. Things got a little messy. But then Josh barges in like Kramer. Yo! Blinds her with a flashlight and says, "Hey, I know where Petey is."
I love the character arc that Josh goes on from this point, where he becomes the accidental savior of the entire family, but just bumbles his way. It is, and it starts right here.
Yep.
But again, it's like they've buried the hatchet. They're no longer fighting. Now they've got to find the dog together. And at midnight in the cemetery, I don't know. Did it just take Josh that long to think of that idea, or he's like, no, midnight in the cemetery, best time to look for a dog after it's been 3 weeks?
That is a good point. I was wondering about that, and I don't remember if they explained that time in the book, because Mom and Dad have been gone. This party didn't start at midnight. These kids have been in the house alone for a bit. I think even Amanda had tried to go to sleep at some point.
Have you ever been to a potluck that's not like work related? Because I don't think I ever have been. But
I call those parties.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of friends, so maybe that's why. The other thing, like, if it's a potluck, I feel like this is the adult version of a party where supposedly no drinking happens. Like, it's the kind of party your parents would tell you about. It's like, oh, we're going to a potluck. And it's like, I've got the 12-pack of Bud. Let's go. And it's really just, they're getting drunk in someone's backyard for 8 hours.
Exactly. A potluck ends at 4 p.m.
Exactly.
There is no reason for these people to be still gone at midnight.
I hear potluck used in conjunctions with, like, churches. Like, I don't hear it in conjunction with, like, all-night rager. Like, that's not how potluck really goes with this midnight nonsense. I mean, they're not at a potluck. We're talking about this. This isn't a potluck. They've been kidnapped. But still, this is ridiculous.
Have you ever heard the term a linger longer?
No. I want to use it forever now.
Well, and I guess it makes sense in context because when I did go to church as a young lad, which is ironic because I went without my parents. They just made me go to get me out of their hair for a morning week. And if they had food, if they served lunch after service, they called it a linger longer so that you would linger longer. But it was basically a potluck.
Oh,
so that was my experience with a potluck. Yeah.
Before we go too far, do you know what a no-bake cookie is? Like, it's chocolate, peanut butter, and oats. And
like a preacher cookie? Yeah.
What did you call it?
A preacher cookie? Is that what you guys called them?
No. So my grandmother, who's Catholic, calls them Methodist bake cookies, which sounds like the most backhand
that sounds
thing.
Very derogatory. Yeah.
She makes them. I mean, everyone likes them, but it was very funny. A preacher cookie. I haven't heard that. And I'm just going to start writing the names out for this. We just called them no-bake cookies because you don't bake them.
You don't bake them, yeah. Linger longer for those preacher cookies, for sure. Well,
cookies.
Mom and Dad are lingering pretty long at this potluck. Josh and Amanda, less worried about their parents than they are their dog. So Josh coming to the rescue. Again, busted the door like Kramer.
To be fair, they miss their parents just as much as their parents miss them.
That's right.
I think it's an equal level of apathy between the two parties. It's a special kind of flashlight, though, right? It's not really a special kind of flashlight. It's a halogen lamp. That's what it is. A halogen bulb lamp.
He does point that out. It's a halogen lamp, and I think that's important later. I don't remember, but
it is.
It is a halogen lamp. Yeah. Okay, gotcha. So he's got this halogen lamp, and so it's after midnight. They want to go look in the cemetery. Now, if you've heard us talking and you read the book, you were probably thinking, "Yep, that's definitely where you should have looked first because that's where the dog went the first time it ran away." That should have been your first thought when Mom and Dad went driving you around. You should have went by that cemetery. Apparently, they didn't do that. But Josh convinces Amanda to go with him. She's like, she's a bit of a rule follower. She doesn't want to be gone when her parents get back, but she's like, fine, I'll go with you. But partway there, they hear footsteps behind them. Dum dum dum! Cliffhanger.
Sound of footsteps on an empty street behind you. I know you live out in them mountain roads and everything, but like, you've been wandering lost in the middle of New York City. You know what it's like to hear someone walking up behind you. Terrifying.
I've been lost in a lot of cities on purpose. I think it's fun.
Oh, you know what? Me too, actually. We should go.
We should make our own Goosebumps. But tell me, who could it be? Who could it be?
I mean, I'm just gonna tell you, it's Ray Thurston.
It's Ray thirsting for some action.
Thurston for.
Yep, he was a little bored.
A little, yeah.
And Josh hits him with that flashlight, and Ray's like, "No, guy, put that away. We don't need none of that light up in here."
They call it dark falls, not light rises. Am I right?
They don't. They definitely don't. That would be opposite. But hey, no big deal is made here, but the kids do find it suspicious. They should have found it more suspicious than they did. It's like, why are you out here in the middle of the night and you don't like light? Like you don't want to see anything? Like, what are you doing?
I mean,
but Ray tells him, he's like, "No, I can't sleep."
Yeah, and then they're just like, "What about your parents?" He's like, I think they said he smiles. He's like, "They don't know." Like, okay, calm down. You're not impressing anybody just because you have absentee parents. Like, Jesus.
Like, are they at that wild potluck rager that's going on too?
So Ray's just like, "What are you guys doing up?" He's like, "Oh, we're looking for Petey. We think Petey went down to the cemetery. And so we decided that, well, I'm assuming 12:30 at this point is a great time to go looking for him. I've got my halogen flashlight right here. And Ray's reaction to this is, it's not even like, oh, you can't do that. Your parents will be really angry. It's just like, no, you're not. He's literally just says like, no, you're not going to the cemetery.
No. Nope.
No, that's inaccurate. We are going to the cemetery. And it's just this back and forth. And they finally realize they don't have to listen to random neighborhood kid and just leave him and keep going to the cemetery. And then he runs, he's like, oh, I'll keep an eye on you. And they head off together.
Yeah, he tags along.
Yeah.
Which is, normal behavior for a kid that can't sleep wandering around in his neighborhood in the middle of the night. Normal stuff. They get to the cemetery. They come to an outdoor amphitheater. I have some issues with this amphitheater that'll come up near the end of the book, but there's an outdoor amphitheater there. Log that in your note brain. And then Ray tells them, he's like, yeah, the outdoor amphitheater, the one right in the middle of the cemetery. Town has meetings here. It's where we meet. Now, I find it interesting you wouldn't meet in a building somewhere, but, whatever. We meet at this outdoor amphitheater.
Amanda's like, this is not a place for government. Like, this is not where you would hold meetings. Like, this
is not a civics establishment at all.
How do you get something decided in this environment? This is, no. She's going to write to the committees, all of them.
She's going to write to them. Yeah, she's going to write to her local government, municipal government. But hey, guess who appears? Oh, thank God. Oh, it's Petey. Oh, Josh picks him up, but he's like, God dang, his dog stinks like a dead rat. This dog stinks like a dead rat. Like, oh, okay, my first thought here is maybe the dog found a dead rat. Dogs find dead things, eat. They're as cute as they
Travis,
are. They wallow in the muck.
I don't know if you ever smelled a dead rat, but you know what else also smells very much like a dead rat? A dead dog.
Oh, come on. He's not going to go there. We've already spoiled it. The dog does die. But, some foreshadowing here. It smells like a dead rat. And the dog is acting strange.
Like he doesn't know.
Runs off again. Now, how can...
Like it doesn't know its name. Like it doesn't like Josh has to grab it to catch it. Like it doesn't even act like it recognizes them.
Right. And as you're reading the book, you're like, well, the dog's clearly alive. It ran off again. But keep the stink in your brain. That'll come back. So Josh and Amanda, they chase Petey, and then they come to a tombstone. And, oh my God, there's a familiar name on it. Now, I've brought the name up a couple times. That name is a one Karen Somerset. Now, hold on a minute. How could her name be on a friggin' tombstone when we just played softball with her?
Hold your horses. There's plenty of innocent. I don't know if you know this, but there's at least 3 people right now with the name Karen. Well, probably less nowadays, but still, it could be anyone. Maybe it's her grandmother. How about that, smart guy?
Maybe it's her grandmother?
Yeah. Why can't it be?
I guess it could be. I mean, it doesn't seem like the maiden line very often does not share the first name too often. But you know what? I'll concede. It's the only logical explanation that we have. The dates are 1960 to 1972, Dylan. So explain to me, how could a 12-year-old that died in 1972 have a granddaughter?
Things were different back in the 60s. Child weddings were very common in the town of Dark Falls.
They weren't that different, I don't think. But
and then the dates don't work out, even if her mom was also 12 years old.
It's wild. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. So they start to recognize some other gravestones as names of other kids they have met. I believe old George turns up at some point because there's a call back to all the names they listed. And then finally, they see another one that has my favorite male stripper name, Ray Thurston. And the years for that one, 1977 and 1980. Is this a crazy coincidence? Are all these kids just named after other dead kids? That'd be weird.
No, actually, Ray has an explanation that cuts straight to the quick. Occam's razor. He's like, no, that's me. I'm dead.
Yes, he does. He does not mince any words at all. And then he does apologize. He goes, yeah, it's me. I'm so sorry, Amanda. Like, I feel like even RL Stine was like, I don't think I can milk anything out of this. I just gotta, he's gotta come out with it. We're running up on page count. He's going to have to admit it.
Yeah. He's like, crap, I got to wrap this up in 20 pages. Let's go. As a little side note, I listened to the audiobook for Welcome to Dead House.
Mm-hmm.
No article, definite or otherwise. And they've actually, and probably in the print editions of the reprints, have updated the dates to better fit the time that they're republished. So the dates are moved up by 20 years in the last publication date. So all these children have died within a relatively similar time frame. So that the children reading the books now can also relate to these dead children. Because if they died back in the 80s, you just can't really...
Yeah, I mean, and who cares?
With them
who cares about who died back then? You only care about people that died in the last 20 years. That's my rule.
Mm-hmm. 100%. But that's the end to that chapter. Because if you're just going to end a chapter, end it with a character saying, like, I'm dead.
Yeah, I'm so dead. I'm so sorry about that. And I was going to say, it's coming up on my grandmother's 20-year death anniversary, so and it's about time. I'm done caring. So after...
Yeah. I mean, the forgetting is hard, but yeah, you'll be fine.
I'm good. I'm glad to hear you say that.
You'll have to be. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, you'll have to be fine. Like, because there's no option. Yeah, there's no.
There's only forward. So chapter 13 hits us here. Lucky number 13, and Ray keeps talking.
I do like the number 13, actually. To interrupt you. For no reason. I like the number 13, and I don't like it being badmouthed as much.
Is it because you watched Friday the 13th? Based on what you told me through my math and the series and the franchise, at least 80 sometimes. Has anything to do with it?
You know what? Yes, actually, that might be. I just had a moment, like a moment of clarity. Yeah,
good. You've had a couple of those, and two of them you have not shared yet where the clarity lies. So I'm waiting for that. But you're right. Ray keeps talking though. Ray ended that last. Right. He ended that last.
We're coming up to that. I'm glad you reminded me.
Oh, good. Ray. He does keep talking. He says, you know what? Sorry about that. You guys weren't supposed to find out about this. This is why he didn't want you in the graveyard snooping around reading gravestones. Which, by the way, if you didn't want it, just get rid of the gravestone. You don't need that.
And who's burying these children? Who's burying these people?
Is it
the other dead people?
I guess it has to be.
Oh. That sucks if you're the ghost stuck with gravedigger duty.
Oh, that does blow.
Ray's going to tell you what his job is in a second, where he's like, I'm the watcher. I watch small children. Like, meanwhile, this other ghost is like, I have to dig graves for all 4 of these children, and I had to kill their dog. Like, this is awful.
Yeah.
This sucks for me. And he just gets to watch children.
And there's absolutely no good pay in that line of work.
Mm-mm.
So, Ray says, you weren't supposed to find out, but guess what? Dogs know first. So, if you recall the dog getting a little weird with me earlier... Petey was on to me there. But that's also what they have to go first. That's why we have to get rid of the dogs pretty much out of the gate. Josh isn't around to hear that. That was to Amanda. So Josh is still looking for Petey. This is Ray talking directly to Amanda. I think that's important to point out. So Josh is still ignorant of Petey's demise. Ray's admitted it. Amanda's only sad for a little bit. She's got bigger fish to fry because, now her life's a bit threatened. So Ray admits to watching Amanda from her window. Amanda was like, see, I knew it. I knew it wasn't paint fumes. You were a real boy, or kinda. And he's like, I'm the watcher. Dylan alluded to that. And you know what? We can't survive without blood. And then starts making a move. Like, whoa, buddy. What's going on here? What are you, one of the Lost Boys? Settle down. Then he says, you'll understand soon, Amanda. You'll understand why we had to invite you to the dead house. Josh and Petey are now nowhere near Amanda. Okay, he went off with his flashlight bobbing off in the distance. She's by herself. She's alone with Ray here, who's now suddenly turned into this evil thing that he's now hovering over her. Which I was trying to figure out, how'd you picture that, Dylan? Because when you said hovered over her, I mean, I kind of pictured, I referenced Interview with the Vampire earlier, the early scene, Tom Cruise's character kind of lifts up into the air. Do you think like legitimately hovering, or is he just taking a posture where he's kind of swelling up on her? Like, how are you picturing the hover piece? Are you taking it literally?
I'm taking it literally because I think later, spoilers, she talks about him dropping
Oh,
So I feel like he's
okay.
actually up in the air, and then
I must have missed that piece. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So we'll move on, but yeah,
He also Jedi Force chokes her. Yeah.
yeah.
I love that.
And we're fading to black as she's fading to black. She thinks she's going to die. And this book just killed a dog. We just found out this book killed a dog.
This has been a rough chapter. This is lucky chapter 13. It's Dylan's favorite chapter. It kills dogs and girls. And no, you're right, because it says here, and I have the book in hand, it says Rey floated up a little higher. I don't know how I missed all this stuff, but she does say, she thinks to herself, I'm dead. I'm dead. Dum, dum, dum. Chapter 14. Now, here is where we get some good details. If you remember that dream from earlier, that was pretty fun to hear about, to read about. RL Stine brings it back here a little bit. Rey's skin melts because Josh shows up to rescue. That Josh. He shows up right at the right time with that freaking flashlight. Hits Rey right square with that halogen beam, and Rey's skin starts to melt.
And I love Josh's reaction to that was something along the lines of like, what's going on? And she's like, keep shining that light on him. Like she's just, don't turn that light off.
Don't you
and they're talking about like, I'm pretty sure it's a pretty gruesome death for him. For someone who's already dead, like it's a lot of flesh falling off and meltiness, and this isn't even the high point though. This is like it's tantalizing you for what's to come later.
Yeah, I have it right here. It says, Rey moved his arms to shield himself from the light, but I could see what was happening to him. The light had already done its damage. Rey's skin seemed to be melting. His whole face sagged, then fell, dropping off his skull. I stared into the circle of white light, unable to look away, as Rey's skin folded and drooped and melted away. As the bone underneath was revealed, his eyeballs rolled out of their sockets and fell silently to the ground. It's not a good way to go, Rey. Not a good way to go.
No, and again, pretty gruesome stuff for a kid's book.
I loved it. Well, as an adult, I didn't read it as a kid. I'd have probably been horrified. But, after they murder this ghost boy, they just head on back to the house, trying to see if Mom and Dad home from that potluck. I'm wondering if they're like, we got to tell Mom and Dad we just murdered a boy with a flashlight, or if they're just curious if their Mom and Dad are fine. Either way, Mom and Dad aren't home. It's now 2 a.m., and guess what? The house, not empty. Karen's inside.
I mean, at this point, we know that Karen's been in the house before. That was definitely her staring down at the stairs, and she asked Josh and Amanda, like, "Hey, what's the hurry? You know what? Well, I invited a couple friends over, and some other, kids from around the neighborhood just start appearing in the home, and
they start doing that whole circle thing again. They like doing that whole West Side Story gang up.
I like the touch. I like this new touch where they just kill the lights too. Like that's a nice little bit of just make you want to pee your pants. Like that's just, it shows they care about the fear they're causing.
And I do love when something, a piece of work drops the title of itself inside of itself. So we get close to that here. We get the kids saying, I think it's George, as they're zeroing in on Josh and Amanda. He says, "We used to live in your house. Now we're dead in your house." Ah, poetry. Good job, RL. Cliffhanger. Oh gosh, are the kids going to get murdered? Chapter 15. Well, it turns out, and you figured it out, everyone who moves to Dead Falls lives in this house first. There's no great uncle. Oh, is it Dark Falls? Dark Falls, I'm sorry. I mean,
it's Dead House and Dark Falls.
Dead House and Dark Falls. I am very sorry. Good catch. But there's no great uncle. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? Really?
Did you know great uncles aren't even a thing? That's not even a real term. So I don't even know why he thought he got a house from one. I just made that up.
I was going to say I had a couple
that's lies.
Decent uncles.
No,
I don't know if I go as far as great. But then there's a knock at the door. Oh, God. Thank God. It's Mom and Dad have arrived. I mean, it's late. They're probably smashed, but they're back. They're here to save us.
2 a.m. after a potluck?
2 a.m. after a freaking potluck.
They got into the heroin at that point. Yeah. Dad rolled up his sleeves, if you know what I'm saying.
That's right.
They're in no condition.
No condition, but turns out it's actually not Mom and Dad. It's Mr. Dawes. Now, here is a really nice, tense part of the book, because if you remember earlier, when Mr. Dawes showed up and the kids were encircling the kids, he was a bit of a hero. They dispersed when he arrived. And we've gotten some mixed signals from him throughout the book. Petey doesn't take well to him. He's had some weird vibes. He shows up in a cowboy hat, which I think is actually kind of sexy. But here the kids disperse again. So that's good. Kind of saves Josh and Amanda a bit of fright there. They're still suspicious of him, though, because they're like, oh, weird you'd show up at 2 a.m. in our house, but okay. Maybe you knew these kids were going to murder us. And he tells them, hey, I was over at that potluck with your parents, and guess what? Other adults encircled your mom and dad, too. Yeah, it's going around, encircling folks. And so we all ran. We got them out of there. And your parents are now somewhere safe, but we got to go get them now, okay? So, good thing I found you here.
Let me take you to the danger zone with the entire town? Come on, Amanda.
Yeah, the danger zone. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to take you to that strange amphitheater near the cemetery, where you shouldn't have an amphitheater. And so, they go, and once they're there, Josh can't get his heart off that friggin' dog, and it's escaped Amanda's mind, because she just murdered a boy and then was almost murdered in her own house and misses her parents. She's like, crap, I forgot to tell Josh the dog's dead. And the dog runs by Josh, and he just like, oh shit, and goes and chases the dog. Doesn't know that Petey's already dead. So Amanda's like, crap, she chases him, tries to stop him, leaves Dawes behind, and Josh trips, drops his flashlight like a big idiot, but guess what? That flashlight, serendipity strikes. It shines on a grave nearby. Now, Dylan, I'm out of where twists and turns could take us right now. What on earth could that flashlight have revealed to us?
The flashlight shines on a grave nearby. Engraved on the tombstone were the words, Compton Dawes, 1950 to 1980.
Well, there's only ever been one Compton Dawes ever born.
I would love to think that if this was a movie, you'd have Amanda and Josh looking down at the grave, and Josh is like, "What if it's another Compton?" And then Amanda says she's just like, "No, he said there's never been another Compton." And from behind them, he says, "That's right, they broke the mold when they made me." And it's just like that. So she's like, "Oh no, thunderclap."
And then it cuts to the rap video for Straight Outta Compton. That's how 1992 was born. That's 1992.
What if he named him Compton because RL Stine's a big fan of NWA, and he's just like, yeah, Straight Outta Compton. I need to put this into my work. Help talk to the kids about Compton being a real estate broker. I don't know. He falls apart at that point.
Who knows what that RL Stine was thinking? But hey, now we realize I do know that Compton is a real place also, and not just the title of an album. I just want to make that clear. No, we got you. We know you're hip.
All right. You're
too hip to be square, bud.
Mm-hmm.
But we had our suspicions about that Compton Dawes. Those suspicions are now reality. He's also dead. But what I think is weird is that he does save them twice. Maybe he wanted their blood and they give up to the elder who comes. I don't know. I think the kids are a little overeager. So I think both times Compton's like, hey, knock it off. There's a time and a place. And I think he's like, so I think the kids, when they're in the house in the second part, they're just there to keep Amanda and Josh in place for Compton to get them. He didn't save them there. And then I think maybe the first time Compton was like, all right, you guys are going to start the party too early. We need a couple weeks. Got to get rid of the dog. Got to get the parents softened up. Come on, knock it off. I like that theory they're trapping them for him. I like that. Mm-hmm. I hadn't considered that. Okay, that makes me feel better because I was very confused.
I will say, I wish there had been a better Compton Dawes reveal in terms of like the gravestone just happening to shine the light on it. It would have been nice if like Compton picks up Petey and is like, Petey likes me now, and just like his face falls off or so, something like that to indicate, rather than being like, because the kids have already climbed on board the idea that people are dead in this town and that there's ghosts. So all he needs to do is say that he's one of the kids, and then he's like, they can be like, oh, he's also dead.
Yeah, he is deceased. Yeah. Hey, that's a good point.
That's that's a nitpick. It's a nitpick. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. And you know what? He stamps out any whatever remaining suspicions any small child reading this book could have had about Compton dolls. He says he catches up to Amanda and Josh, and he's like, "Nah, for real, I'm dead too." Says it right there on that tombstone that you're clearly able to read. We get a bit of backstory about why this happens here, which I think is interesting. I don't know that R.L. Stine needed to do this. I don't know that kids reading this were really looking for some explanation. I think they might have just been happy with the hijinks. But it turns out there was a plastics factory in town. They sold peaches from a can. No, they didn't. But there was an accident there, and it caused the yellow fog to cover the town and the people. No one was the same after that. A little bit of a yellow fog incident. So they weren't the same, in addition to being dead. Josh is like, that's great. I love hearing about yellow foggy factories, but I want to see my parents. I'm upset right now. I've lost my dog, and I'm surrounded by people that want to murder me. And Dawes is like, no, Bud, hey, listen, guy, hey, Bud, they're safe. Hey. And he offers to lead the kids to them and tells Amanda very sinisterly, hey, it's okay. Dying doesn't hurt. Wow, what a line. What a line in a kid's book.
Yeah, I can't imagine that line being a kid's book now. Don't worry, dying doesn't hurt. All right, so here's my theory. The clouds parting, the strange supernatural clouds that the kids knew were going to part a specific time, what if those clouds are like some sort of holdover from the fog? Like that, the accident happened at noon on that day or something, and so that's like why the clouds depart, whatever. Like, so they have cloud cover from that point forward, or whatever. It's somehow tied to the event that killed them. Like the fact that it's a yellow fog, the blankets thing, and there's this weird cloud that the kids seem to know how to time it.
I like that theory.
Makes me think.
I like that theory.
And a whistle, like kind of like a factory whistle. That's how the little kid alerted everyone. He didn't just say like, "Hey guys, it's noon."
He did say a silver whistle, which it didn't scream to me like factory thing. But I guess if I think of the Flintstones or whatever, you think of that kind of whistle maybe. But I think that's a good theory. I think it's a good theory. That does kind of tie that a bit together. It was a bit loose there for me, but I like your theory. I'm going to commit to it. So Amanda at this point. And these kids, sometimes they're precocious, sometimes they remember great ideas way too late, or at least later than they should. She's like, oh yeah, that light, I was able to kill Ray earlier. He's dead. I was surrounded by dead kids earlier, didn't think about this. And also Compton Dawes has been dragging us around for the last 20 minutes. Didn't think about it, but if we hit Compton with some flashlight, he's probably going to melt away. So she's like, Josh, remember that flashlight? Hit Dawes with that flashlight, bud. Come on. We end chapter 16 wondering if that happens. Josh, turns out the flashlight is dead, and so he can't shine the light on him, so he just chucks it at him. He just does a little Nolan Ryan, a little Mike Messina, does a little crow hop. And it must have been a good toss, Dylan, because he cracked his skin open.
I imagined, because when I read, I don't really pay attention. I imagined that it had hit like his forehead or something, and like just a flap of skin was just like hanging down from where he'd been hit. But that's what I was imagining in my head, and he's mad about it.
It just says
like,
it hit him in the center of the forehead, splitting a large hole in his skin. Oof.
Now I'm thinking more like you could maybe see inside of his skull, and like maybe some bugs are coming out.
I don't know,
a little bit.
But it must have been a really good
that's
shot.
what I'm thinking.
I mean, Josh is 11. He's probably got a future. We should look him up. Josh Benson.
I mean, he was the basis for the kid in Rookie of the Year, actually. But he was the inspiration behind that. Yeah.
Well,
he had like a 98-mile-per-hour fastball.
That's pretty good.
At 13. It's crazy.
That's amazing for 13. Yeah. Unheard of, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So after that, the kids run.
He was dead 2 years later, but
he'd been dead the whole time. The kids run.
Yeah.
They're like, "Well, time to get out of here. We don't have a good flashlight working, and we've done clocked old Dawes." But then, not a good time. I don't know what time. Must be witching hour. I'm estimating it's around 3 a.m. at this point. Dark figures start rising up from the graves and moving toward the amphitheater. Oh no, that's
later too.
Oh, it's got to be later because sunrise comes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've been out here a while.
What is everyone doing? Yeah.
I don't know. But, oh no, these dark figures are heading toward where Mom and Dad are. I would love to, I wish there was some cut at some point through all this to Dad. I would love to hear him complaining, stupid ghost, what's going on with this bullshit? He's all fat and unhappy.
Someone should go back and write the Goosebumps books from the perspectives of the parents.
God, that would be amazing.
I mean, spoilers for the second book. That would be really interesting, actually, and would just come across as just like 50s pulp. But like this one would probably be hilarious, where it's just like, God damn, our kids are the worst. Like, we're trying to move. We have this dog. Josh is howling all the time. Ugh.
I would
now
love...
let's go to potluck.
Oh, I bet Dad was stoked for that potluck. Big, overweight Dad just getting jazzed for a good potluck, but then he's so disappointed when it's not a potluck and it's a kidnapping by ghouls. He's like, what? This sucks. God dang it.
Like, in my head, you and I had two entirely different books. Like, you were basically have, like, the dad is this comedy figure, and that's, like, what this book is about. My other one is, like, this bleak marriage that's on the rock. Because if you remember from the beginning of the book, the dad is actually like, we're going to sell our old house, and I'm going to become a writer. And just thinking of like, the last 2 weeks he's trying to write, but he can't write. And she's just like nagging him. She's just saying all the time, like, I thought we moved out to this dark house with these dead dogs running around. And like, you haven't even written a book yet. And it's just like, stop hounding me, woman. That's the book that I would have written. And you're just like, dude, this dad is having the time of his life up until the potluck turns into a kidnapping.
I'm just imagining him as just like a grumpy Chris Farley, but I love him. So they get back to the amphitheater. Mom and Dad are tied back to back like they're going to get run over by a train on a railroad. But they're in the center of the amphitheater, and this is where I'm like, all right, RL was trying to wrap it up here, because Amanda thinks they can push over this giant tree that's leaning sort of over where this amphitheater is, and she's going to hit it. Let the morning sun that's now rising do its business on these ghouls. Let the sun hit them. Let the light hit them. And unsurprisingly, Dylan, I don't know why she didn't think of this. She's a precocious young gal. She runs up and hits this big old knotty tree. It doesn't move. Of course it doesn't move. It's a giant tree. Why even have the idea?
I want to know how big this tree would have to be to provide enough shade for an entire town's worth of people that a child could still push over.
Right?
Like, what is the min-max on this, where it's just like, all right, so the tree is already about to fall. Like a butterfly could have knocked it over at this point.
I know. And I'll just go ahead and break into why I think the whole idea of this amphitheater is horseshit. Move all your town business inside. If you die in the sun, why even risk it? I don't understand it.
I'm gonna say magic. There's some magic going on. Maybe the amphitheater is actually where the plastic factory used to be. That's what it is. They have to do it there because that's where the plastic magic is strong enough.
There's got to be some reason. But anyway, we end chapter 17 with the tree doesn't budge, and I actually laughed out loud. I was like, yeah, no shit. Chapter 18 hits us, but RL, I imagine he wrapped up chapter 17. He's like, now what the fuck am I going to do? And he opens up chapter 18.
This has to be done in 10 pages?
He starts chapter 18, and he's like, the tree falls over. So the tree does fall, and the morning sun does damage all of those wicked towns, ghouls, and all of these wicked towns children. But there is a passage, Dylan, I want to read. I call it a passage. This is not the Bible, but there are a few lines about Karen Somerset's death.
From chapter 18, verses 13 through 22, yes.
That's right. I'm going to see if I can find it here. All right, so here we go. The painful cries, this is after the tree has fallen, the sun shining through. The painful cries continued to ring out as the bodies fell apart. The skin melted away. The dry bones collapsed. I saw Karen Somerset staggering across the floor of the amphitheater. They're outside. I saw her hair fall to the ground in a heap, revealing the dark skull underneath. She cast a glance up at me, a longing look, a look of regret. And then her eyeballs rolled out of their sockets. And she opened her toothless mouth and she cried, "Thank you, Amanda! Thank you!" and collapsed.
Jesus Christ.
That's rough, dude.
What a truly awful thing to put in a book for children. And it's weird because, like, I know I read this when I was a kid. I would have just rolled right over that. It's only as an adult that, like, I'm looking at these things like, this is awful. Like, oh my God, what a horrible thing for a child to witness. But Amanda's just going to be like, you're welcome, thumbs up, and goes on with her day. But, like, if you actually put all this into context, these children are wrecked for the rest of their lives.
Oh, for sure. You're not coming back from that. You murdered a boy with a flashlight. And
I would love to get, like, a psychologist on here just to be like, so I would say that, no, they're doomed. That's my professional diagnosis for each set of children that we go through in these books. And just like, he was a bee for 38 hours, you said? No, he's wrecked. His mind is gone.
Ruined. He's ruined. No, I got hope
that
for
is
these
the book
kids.
that's next to me at all times. So
I got hope for these kids. I don't have much hope for Josh, but I think Amanda will be fine. She's she's strong enough to knock over the town's biggest tree. So I'm actually kind of afraid of her.
And end death. She's ended death for these, she's killed, never mind. She ended a curse. We'll say that. Let's do that.
Yeah, I see where you're going. Yeah. So at the end here.
Oh, wait. I know we're running super overlong, but wouldn't it have also been great if they push the tree over, the sun comes down, and their parents also melt?
Oh, shit.
As just the ultimate, like...
that would have been... Like, they died at the potluck?
We were too late.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, they were too... Like, Dawes wasn't bringing them to, like, at all. Like, he was like, their parents were going to initiate them. Oh,
that would have been...
That's not a book for children either. I love how I immediately went from, you should have put that in a book for kids, to immediately coming up with a worse idea. To, like, and then their parents die.
No, I think that's great. I would have loved that. Amanda and Josh would have hated it, and most kids would have been sad. But mom and dad are saved.
But the dog comes back.
Does it? Dog's dead, right?
No, the dog's dead.
Oh,
the dog's
okay,
dead.
No.
I'm saying, like, that would be a good trade-off.
Oh, a good trade-off. Like the parents died,
have the dog comes back.
Yeah, I would have bought that. Yeah. That would have been fine. Actually, that would have fixed everything. But no, in this story that RL Stine has written, the parents are alive, the dog is still dead. No one really thinks about the dog anymore. They're like, the dog, it was kind of annoying. So at the end, a new family arrives to look at the home. She spots Dawes on the porch with a clipboard, much the same way that she was introduced to him 17 chapters ago. And then the family pulls out and heads back to where they came from. And probably don't tell anyone about anything that they saw there or did. So the next family's also doomed.
The family moves in. They've got the two sons. And then one of the sons sees Amanda. And he's like, what are you doing here? Why are you hanging out around our house? And she doesn't know what to say. She's like stammering. She's like, I used to live in your house. And then she books it. And I love that kind of ending.
Came full circle.
In general, I love the full circleness of it. The fact that she's like completing the cycle, basically, because if you think about it, like all the other kids told them, like they broke the cycle in the way that they weren't sacrificed. But she still continues that part of it with the next family, where she's just like, I used to live in your house. Bye. That almost makes up for the tree. I always forget about the tree when I think about this.
The tree's rough.
Because of the fact that it's rough.
Yeah.
I need to see what he was thinking in his head. Because, I can believe that tree would fall over.
Yeah, I could believe a 12-year-old girl could shoulder that giant amphitheater protecting tree off the ground. Anyway, we've belabored that, but that's it. That's the story. I mean, we've talked about how it was the first one in the series. We talked about how it was a little less, maybe, I don't want to say a little less playful. I think it has a consistent tone to the rest of the books, at least the ones that I've read through so far, but it does have some parts that are a little more visceral, and an animal, a pet dies, which he doesn't make that mistake again, which I think he addressed that in an interview. They asked him about it, and he's like, yeah, learn that lesson.
Yeah, and I think he says too, like, hey, he learned it through this dog, but also like, no kids, like any kids that die are like already dead when the book starts, no matter what, like moving forward. Like, I don't think anything really dies. I think this feels a lot more like Fear Street for kids than the other books will end up feeling like. And in a lot of ways, too, this book feels like the new Fear Street movies that just came out a year or two ago, where those movies are very much about like a town that has weird and horrific traditions and blah, blah, blah. So it fits more into that feeling of like a sinister conspiracy or something rather than the other books. And he even does return to this theme a little bit in the Ghost Next Door.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, in general, I liked it. My rating scheme for this will be, I'm going to give it, I liked it. I think I'm going to excuse that it was the first one for some of its shortcomings. Not that it had many, but I'm going to give it six already dead kids out of a possible 7 already dead kids in a house. So 6 out of 7.
I think I'm going to give this one a special rating because it is the first one. I'm going to give it 1 Compton. Never to be repeated. Never used before. There's only 1 Compton, and it is Welcome to Dead House.
All right, 1 Compton. It earned a Compton.
1 Compton. It earned a Compton. No other book can earn that. That's the thing.
No, I'm interested to see how many books we get through before the names Josh and Amanda are reused. I would be very surprised if we see another Compton. And only diehard fans would ever take notice of another Compton. I'm
going to demand that he writes a sequel for Petey. I'm gonna write him up or if we get him on the show, I will corner him and be like, we need a sequel for Petey, and it is Petey's journey from being an undead dog back to being a real dog. But then he finds out that Josh and Amanda died like 10 years ago, and finds their graves, and it's super sad. It'd be great. I'd love it. I'm going to write it, and I'll send it to him in a box.
There is a ghost dog book somewhere in the catalog. I can't remember the name of it, but there's one in there. I doubt it's named Petey, but that would be a cool connection. But I think that's going to wrap us up, Dylan. I think I had a pretty good time here. We went through it. We got a whole bunch of bumps bumping. Hopefully, folks had a good time. We had a few good laughs in there. We dissected. You uncovered some mysteries about the plot. We figured out that what the whistle was all about. At least I did. A lot of good insight out of you. And yeah, that's it. So if you folks have questions, you're like, hey, I want to reach out and talk to you guys. I love Goosebumps. Well, you can. We got an email. You can email us at wegotgoosebumpspodcast@gmail.com. They don't make email addresses any longer than that, folks. We got Goosebumps@gmail.com. You can also find it in the show notes.
I tried to add a couple more words on there, but Google was like, absolutely not. And I was like, we got Goosebumps podcast first of a network? Question mark. And then Trav also vetoed that. But also, if you want to go ahead and find us on Twitter, we're on Twitter. We're talking a lot on Twitter. We haven't even put out an episode yet, and there's stuff on Twitter. Go check out the Twitter, which you're not going to hear for months now. It doesn't matter. It's at Say Cheese and Pod. That's Say Cheese and Pod.
And you can...
Obviously all one word.
All one word. And you'll catch a reference to that later this season. Visit polymedianetwork.com. We got more shows over there. If you like video games, we got video game shows. If you like a bit of drinking and socializing, we got shows for that. If you like just beer and weird, we got shows for that. We got all kinds of cool shows, so pop over there and check them out. And if you would like to support the network, you can do so by visiting our Patreon at patreon.com/polykill. Now, Dylan, what we like to do at the end of these here episodes is set the stage for our next episode. Would you like to do the honors and lead us into episode 2 by reading the back of the book?
Dr. Brewer is doing a little plant testing in his basement. Nothing to worry about. Harmless, really. But Margaret and Casey Brewer are worried about their father, especially when they meet some of the plants he is growing down there. Then they notice that their father is developing plant-like tendencies. In fact, he's becoming distinctly weedy and seedy. Is it just part of their father's harmless experiment? Or has the basement turned into another little shop of horrors? Find out next episode on Stay Out of the Basement.